Monitoring. There are many different ways to monitor beneficiaries during their stay abroad. The mobility coordinator of the sending organisation can stay in contact with the beneficiaries through emails, Skype, WhatsApp or phone. The same channels can also be used to stay in touch with the company tutor. There is also the possibility to send interim questionnaires to all parties involved in order to monitor the achievements of the beneficiary. To give you an example of how monitoring can take place, we will follow Mark during his internship in the Netherlands. Mark is now in the Netherlands and works as an intern in Restaurant B. Prior to the placement of Mark, the sending organisation and host organisation agreed upon the content of the practical training and tutoring of the intern. For all parties, it is clear which learning outcomes, described in the learning agreement, should be achieved by Mark. The learning agreement is signed by the sending organisation, the host organisation, and by Mark. The chef of Restaurant B is Mark's tutor during his internship, and he is responsible for the coaching and guiding of Mark. The tutor helps the trainee in achieving the learning outcomes. The mobility coordinator of the sending organisation monitors Mark during his internship. At the end of Mark's first week's internship, the mobility coordinator holds Skype meetings to get the first impressions of the student and of the tutor. This is part of the monitoring, to assist and clarify objectives to all parties involved. The mobility coordinator first contacts Mark. The mobility coordinator asks Mark questions on his well-being, on the tutoring by the chef, if he is able to achieve the learning outcomes, on the accommodation, and if any other issues have occurred. After this, the mobility coordinator contacts the chef and asks how the trainee is progressing and whether he is able to achieve the learning outcomes agreed, and if there are any things which need to be discussed. He also informs the tutor of his conversation with the trainee. At the end of this Skype meeting with the tutor, the mobility coordinator informs Mark of any specific changes in approach or tips given by the tutor so that the student can further develop his performance in the coming weeks. Mark and his chef are satisfied. According to the chef, Mark is a quick learner, and Mark is happy with the guidance of the chef and learns a lot from him. Halfway through the period of internship, the mobility coordinator sends a mid-term questionnaire in order to monitor Mark's progress. Mark sends his mobility coordinator the results and reports on his assignments made in the first weeks of his internship. The mobility coordinator gives him feedback by email. In the last week of the internship, Mark will have to do an exam, prepare a 3-course meal for 5 people. This assessment will show what Mark learned during his internship and whether he achieved the learning outcomes established in the learning agreement. In this tutorial, you saw the process of monitoring of an individual student who is doing his internship in a company. However, monitoring of students depends upon different variables. In many cases, groups of students go abroad, and especially when they are underage, are accompanied by 1 or more teachers who monitor them, for example, by observing them at their internship. In other cases, the monitoring of the student will be carried out by an intermediary organisation in the host country. Students can do their internship in a company, but also in a training centre or in a vet school. Then, monitoring will be done by the teachers of the training centre or vet school. The length of the internship also has an influence on which monitoring procedures are appropriate and feasible.